Hello, English students. Welcome to your English class number 22, Advanced Level. Okay, open your PowerPoints and go straight to slide number 2, where you're gonna find some popular sayings. So these popular sayings, they have a popular saying equivalent in Portuguese. You're gonna see it there too. So let me start saying the popular sayings in English. Okay, so the first one is scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. Second one is little by little the bird builds its nest. Third one, it's funny as long as it's happening to someone else. Fourth one, barking dogs seldom bite. Right? Now going to slide number 3, we have the introduction of the subject, great inventors. So we're gonna talk about 3 inventors. One, it's very famous. The other 2, not so much. So let's see what this is about. Do you know who to thank for the air conditioner? Or for the fact that you can communicate instantly with people from across the globe through the internet? Or for being able to travel long distances by air? How would the world be without these great inventions? Can you imagine? Since the invention of the wheel, the mankind has come up with more and more ways to make life easier. And today, the technology has helped these inventions to reach a whole other level. On this class, we're going to talk about inventors who created something incredible, but were taken for granted. Okay, why do I say they were taken for granted? Because they didn't receive enough respect and enough recognition for what they did. One of them, he is very famous, but he's more recognized by the Brazilian people. For people in other countries, people believe he wasn't the one who invented the airplanes. So you know who is the first one? The famous one that I was talking about? Yes, slide number 4, you're gonna see the history about Alberto Santos Dumont. So let's see. Born in Palmira, Minas Gerais, the city is now called Santos Dumont, on July 20th, 1873, and died in Guarujá, São Paulo, on July 23rd, 1932. Santos Dumont was a Brazilian aeronaut, inventor, and engineer, the 6th son in a total of 8 of the French and also engineer Henriques Dumont and the Brazilian with Portuguese descent, Francisca de Paula Santos. In 1892, Santos Dumont's father was partially paralyzed by a fall from a horse. He sold his plantation and went to Europe with his wife and Santos Dumont in search of treatment. While in Paris, Santos Dumont contacted a balloonist to fly a balloon. This experience triggered his love for flying. For the next 4 years, Alberto lived in Paris, studying physics, chemistry, mechanics, and electricity, with the help of a private tutor. He went back to Brazil in 1896, but returned to Europe the next year to continue his studies and develop some projects. He started with balloons and dirigibles, and only then moved to design and construct aircraft as we know today, the heavier than air aircrafts. Alright, let's go to slide number 5. Santos Dumont continued to work on non-rigid airships, the dirigibles that he created. His primary interest soon turned to heavier than air aircraft, like the aircraft we have today. In 1905, he had finished his first fixed wing aircraft design and also a helicopter. He finally succeeded in flying a heavier than aircraft on October 23, 1903, piloting the 14 Bs, before a large crowd of witnesses and in the city of Paris. This was the first flight of a powered heavier than air machine in Europe. It wasn't considered the first in the world because of the Wright brothers, who claimed to have flown an aircraft in 1903, although there wasn't any footage of this event. Santos Dumont won many prizes and awards prior and after his passing. But the laurels of his inventions were overshadowed by the Wright brothers' claim, saying they were the inventors of the plane. Regarding his private life, Santos Dumont was a lifelong bachelor, appeared to have a particular affection for a married Cuban American woman named Ida Acosta, who in 1903 became the only other person that he ever permitted to fly one of his aircrafts. Slide number 6. Nevertheless, there was a controversy about his sexuality. Some believe he was homosexual, since the Brazilian aviator never got married, and in addition, he always maintained a well-kept appearance, refined manners, and was very shy. Researcher Henrique Gomes from Brazilian Center of Physical Research rejected this thesis, saying he was only a man concerned with appearance. According to Barros, French refinement sounded like homosexual affectation to American journalists, who described it as effeminate. Santos Dumont came from a wealthy family and had the opportunity to study in Europe, where he lived most of his adulthood. In 1933, Santos Dumont's nephew went to Switzerland and took him back to Brazil. Seriously ill, said to be depressed both by his multiple sclerosis and also the use of aircraft in warfare during São Paulo's constitutionalist revolution. He hanged himself. He hung himself on July 23rd, 1932, three days after his 59th birthday, at the Grand Hotel La Plage in the city of Guarujá, São Paulo. Besides the airplane, he is known for the invention of the watch. So many people doesn't know that, right? That he was the one who created the watches. Alright, let's go to slide number 7 and see who is our next inventor. The next one is John Gorrie. Never heard of him? Okay, don't blame yourself. He wasn't famous. John Gorrie, born October 3rd, 1803 in Charleston, South Carolina, U.S., died on June 16th, 1855 in Apalachicola, Florida, was an American physician who discovered the cold air process of refrigeration. Dr. Gorrie worked in Apalachicola, a port city in Florida, where the climate was extremely hot. To improve the conditions of sailors with yellow fever, he would hang bags of ice on the wards. But the product taken from distant lakes frozen in winter was very expensive. Therefore, the doctor decided to use his knowledge of amateur physicists. In 1850, at the age of 47, he created a water tank connected to a piston that compressing and decompressing the air took out the internal heat. Thus, in one stroke, Gorey created the cooling system that would give rise to the air conditioning and the refrigerator. Dr. Gorey married Caroline Frances Merrick Beeman on May 8, 1838. She was a widowed proprietress of the Florida Hotel in Apalachicola. It's a very different name and very hard. I'm sorry for that. Let's continue slide number 8. Gorey became so devoted to his creation that he gave up medical practice and his family shortly after the wedding to engage the work with ice making. He was granted for the first U.S. patent for mechanical refrigeration in 1851 for a machine to make ice. Although it was a remarkable invention, he failed to find backers to fund his project. All attempts to find sponsors to keep developing his invention and make it profitable proved to be fruitless. The New York Times newspaper was blunt in its criticism. There is an eccentric doctor in the city of Apalachicola, Florida, who thinks he can make ice as well as the Almighty God. Impoverished, Gorey sought to raise money to manufacture his machine, but the venture failed when his partner, who supported him financially, died. Humiliated by criticism, broken, and with impaired health, Gorey died in seclusion on June 29, 1855. 5 years after his passing, the system was successfully installed on ships that would transport meat from Australia to England. In 1958, it was built a museum in his honor in the city of Apalachicola, Florida. This museum is open for visitors until today, so he could only find some recognition after he passed. This is really sad. Let's continue to slide number 9, where we're gonna talk about our last inventor, Benjamin Bradley. The name Benjamin Bradley may tell you little or nothing, but it's one of the most important figures in engineering. Born in 1830s in the state of Maryland, Bradley was an African American slave whose owner is not known. It is only known that when he was younger, he worked for a printing company, and that later, due his aptitude for mechanical engineering, his owner put him to work in the Department of Natural and Experimental Philosophies of Naval Academy from Annapolis. It was at this academy that Bradley learned how to read and write. Before that, Benjamin Bradley had already built a model of a steam engine with 2 pieces of steel, a power keg, and a pelter. At the academy, Bradley sold the model to a Navy guard. The device had enough power to move a small boat. The money raised was used to expand his research and create a bigger and more powerful engine. Slide 10. Bradley eventually managed to create a device capable of, for the first time, propelling a warship that carried weapons. Thus, the engine created by Benjamin was the first to be able to move such a vessel. As a slave, and according to the laws implemented in the United States at the time, Benjamin Bradley was prevented from registering his patent. But not everything, his patent, sorry, patent. But not everything was bad in this story. He sold the device for good money and with part of that amount managed to buy his freedom. The date of his death is not known. So a very important person for the engineering world was a slave. So this is a very interesting story, and I basically, me personally, I never heard about him. Well, so that's the class for today. Okay, so if you have any questions, any doubts, just write it and ask me in the class. Okay, hope you like it, and I see you in live class. Bye bye.